I used to believe in the Disney fairy tale version of success. You know the vibe. If you hustle, grind, and drink enough caffeine to kill a horse, you will eventually win. Then I read Malcolm Gladwell's Outliers, and it basically slapped me in the face with a wet fish. It turns out, success isn't about how hard you try. It's about weird stuff you can't control. Like what month your mom gave birth to you, or what the economy was doing when you were in diapers. I know, it sounds like something your unemployed uncle says to explain why he lives in the basement. But Gladwell brought receipts. He has data, and the data is kind of depressing. So, grab a drink. Here are 3 reasons why your success was decided before you even learned to read. Lesson 1. Success is sometimes just administrative bureaucracy. Let's talk about hockey, the most Canadian thing ever, besides apologizing to trees. In 2007, researchers looked at elite Canadian hockey teams, a roster of superstars. They noticed something sketchy. The vast majority of the best players were born in January, February, or March. If you were born in November or December, statistically, you don't exist. You're invisible. Same thing happened with youth soccer teams in Europe. All the pros were born early in the year. Is it astrology? Are Capricorns just naturally better at hitting things with sticks? No, it's the cutoff date. In youth sports, the age cutoff is usually January 1st, so in the 10-year-old league, you have a kid who just turned 10 and a kid who is basically 11. At that age, a 12-month gap is massive. The January kid is taller, faster, and less likely to cry if he gets hit with a ball. The coach sees the big kid and thinks, wow, this kid has natural talent. He looks at the December kid and thinks, this kid has the athletic ability of a wet noodle. But the big kid isn't talented. He's just older. This is where it gets dark. It creates a self-fulfilling prophecy. The talented January kid gets put on the elite travel team. He gets the best coaches. He gets extra practice. The December kid gets cut from the team and decides to pursue a career in playing Xbox. Gladwell calls this the Matthew effect, or in simple terms, the rich get richer. A tiny advantage at the start, being born a few months early, compounds over time until it becomes an insurmountable gap. And it's not just sports. It happens in school, too. Economists found that older kids in 4th grade score 4% to 12% higher in math than the younger kids in the same class. Teachers confuse maturity with intelligence. They put the older kids in the gifted and talented program. Fast forward 10 years. The oldest kids are 11% more likely to go to a top-tier college. So if you failed calculus, don't blame your brain, blame your parents for not timing their romantic life better. Lesson 2. You have to be born in the golden era. Being a billionaire is like surfing. It doesn't matter how good you are if the ocean is flat. There's a list of the 75 richest humans in history. Pharaohs, kings, and tech bros. A creepy amount of them. 20% were born in the same country, in the same decade. The U.S. in the mid-19th century. Why? Because the 1860s and 70s were the Industrial Revolution, railroads, Wall Street, factories. If you were born in 1820, by the time the boom hit, you were too old. You had a bad back and didn't understand this newfangled electricity. If you were born in 1850, you were too young. You were still playing with hoops and sticks. But if you were born around 1835, bingo, you were 35 years old right when the economy exploded. Old enough to lead, young enough to adapt. Now, let's look at the tech boom. The 1975 personal computer revolution. Guess when Bill Gates, Steve Jobs, and the founders of Google and Sun Microsystems were born. 1953, 1954, 1955. It's spooky. If you were born in 1945, by 1975 you had a job, a mortgage, and a baby. You weren't going to quit IBM to build a computer in a garage. If you were born in 1965, you were in junior high. You were worried about acne, not algorithms. But if you were born in 1955, you turned 20 right as the first personal computer kit hit the market. You had no job, no kids, and plenty of free time. Perfect timing. So are they geniuses? Yes. But if they were born 5 years later, they'd just be middle managers at a software company. Lesson 3. Practice makes perfect, but money makes practice possible. You've heard the 10,000-hour rule. To master anything, you need to practice for 10,000 hours. Gladwell looked at violinists. The best ones practiced more. Shocking, I know. But 10,000 hours is a lot. That's 3 hours a day, every day, for 10 years. Who has that kind of free time? Not people who have to work at McDonald's to pay rent. Let's look at Bill Gates again, the poster boy for self-made. In 1968, Bill went to a private school in Seattle called Lakeside. This school was rich, like, we buy computers for fun rich. Most colleges didn't have computers. This middle school did. The Mothers Club at the school paid for unlimited computer time. Bill lived near a university where he could sneak in at 3 a.m. to code. By the time he dropped out of Harvard, he had been coding for 7 years straight. He hit his 10,000 hours before he could legally buy a beer. It wasn't just grit. It was a wealthy school, a supportive family, and being in the one zip code in America that had a computer terminal for kids. Compare that to Chris Langan. This guy has an IQ higher than Einstein. He is literally a human supercomputer, but he grew up poor. No dad, abusive stepdad, no money for college. His car broke down on the way to class, and the school wouldn't help him. He lost his scholarship because his mom forgot to fill out a form. Today, the smartest man in America isn't inventing warp drives. He's living on a farm. Talent is the gas, but environment is the road. If there's no road, the car just sits in the garage. No one makes it alone. Behind every genius is a rich parent, a lucky birthday, or a really good zip code. Okay, so that's depressing. If you weren't born in 1955 to a rich family, are you cooked? Not really. It just means we need to stop beating ourselves up. I was born in December. I was always the smallest kid in class. In kindergarten, while other kids were reading, I was still trying to figure out which end of the pencil to use. I spent years thinking I was just dumb or mid. But Outliers taught me I wasn't dumb. I was just late. Some people get their 10,000 hours at age 25. Some get them at age 50. And honestly, success in this book basically means rich and famous. But maybe success is just having a dog that doesn't bite you, and a pizza that arrives hot. If you're still trying, even though the universe rigged the game against you, that's main character energy. If you also feel like you missed the boat, leave a comment or a dot. Just let me know I'm not alone. See you in the next one. Peace.